Hello everyone and welcome to that one playthrough of MMORPG Tycoon 2. I am Kyle once again, and you find us in a little bit more of a populated area than we had previously. I built out this last little village in the previous episode, but there was nobody in it. I've since then built it with guards, trainers for our classes, and some quest givers. At least one, two, maybe? Yeah, three quest givers. But we'll envelop on that a little bit more today. The other thing I did was I wanted there to be a little bit more of a sub-camp of some Imperial guards and exploratory units. So over here, there's a small detachment that was sent by the Empire that involves one Throne Watcher, and that's usually a sign that there's a Throne Watcher. It's something that the Empire takes exceptionally seriously, as well as a lowly guard captain. There's a couple of paladins, and they even sent with this unit one elementalist, meaning that they were expecting some serious combat. As a result, we're going to make some quest lines engaging with this as well. There's two quest givers I've already built there. I don't know quite yet what to do with this area that I left kind of open here last time. Maybe it directs to something like a dungeon. I doubt it, though. But as we know, last time we did construct this gigantic mining operation that is kind of falling apart here in this region. Mining region is connected to the small village here, so there's another little like sub pocket area that our players can go and attach to an in space, and then that'll connect to some quests. That doesn't necessarily involve them being forced to come down here and be a part of this village, but they still can. So there are two main hubs in this province now, one over here in this corner, one over here on the coast. We're going to keep those two relatively unrelated in terms of, you know, the parties that are involved at each one, but there might be some intermingling between some of the quests in terms of going to check things out, getting players to move around more. And just to recap one more thing, we did add in here, there's a dungeon. So there's a dungeon entrance right here. We haven't built the dungeon yet, but that's part of what I want this this kind of mining operation to be. And this is the bigger mining operation, more expensive than say smaller operations like the one that's over here, but you know, this one doesn't produce as much of an outcome. So we'll have some fun there. What I really want to focus on for this particular recording is building out some of the storyline within here, which means we need to attach some quests. We need to get some things ultimately going here. There's some things I want to do scenery wise to add on to some of this, even some more overgrowth. Obviously, I want to build the dungeons. I've got that dungeon. I've got this dungeon here. Don't know if there'll be a third. I'd really like to flesh out this region because there are some lore aspects that I want to explore a little bit more. So there's a couple of things we have to do first. We have to establish from what zones we're coming from, which should not be too difficult. If we look at the grid, obviously, okay, so Zephyr is level 4. This region that we're working on is a 4-5. So when players come from Zephyr over here, they're going to be potentially a little, not over leveled, but they're going to be a little bit further progress. So like if they were to complete level 4 in here, they're going to have the option of being directed up towards the Pass of Karak, or they're going to be directed to come down here. So we'll have, there's already quest lines that direct them up toward Karak, but I would like there to obviously be quest lines that direct them down toward this region. If they complete level 4 within Karak, they're going to get here and they're going to want to jump straight into higher level quests that are more specifically oriented towards level 5. So what I'll probably do is quest lines that direct out of Zephyr into here are going to take players probably down to the lower half of the region. So we will try to get them to walk down this direction. They're going to have to cut through the jungle though, which we're not going to make particularly easy. If they're coming out of Eastwash, they're going to be completing level 3, which means they're going to want to start to do the level 4 stuff, which we'll put kind of on the north end of the province. And the reason we want the southern half to be 5 is because once they complete that, we're going to want to direct them into Anglor. So Anglor will have access on both sides. So if they go through this region to complete 4 or 5, they're not going to come over here to Baltron. And then from Anglor, the direction would be to head south into this region. Now, before we get too far on here, there's a couple of things I need to get done, just cleaning house a little bit with this province. First and foremost, there are no enemies currently in the jungle, which makes it boring. It's a very boring jungle. And I did not finish making, no, not classes. I did not finish making our new monster last time, which I obviously want to make sure I do. Right now, he looks like some kind of disgruntled orange version of Kermit the Frog with claws. Other than like disgruntled Kermit the Frog. Okay, I decided to increase the size of my UI just because I want to be able to see all this stuff a little bit better, a little bit better. Okay, so we're definitely using this head to be our plant monster. Right now I've got the tree torso. I've got no tail selected, but there was definitely a tail I wanted. It was this one. So this is the like beholder type, like eyes, but we can obviously choose different colors, which will make this really easy. We're making like a death flower of sorts. So I want to get some of this stuff situated here. First thing, the torso, and actually what I really want to do now that I think about it, we're gonna pause the game. Let's use this open space here. We're gonna make an elite version of this guy and put him here just so we kind of have a reference point of what he looks like. And then what I also want to do is put just a really basic unit here, like a guard, so we can understand size reference, because I want these to be fairly big. And then we'll add in just a small zone here that will hopefully easily populate. There we go. We got a couple of them here. I don't like how that's glowing. Can I activate this on my own? I just need somebody to come turn this on. There we go. So let's go ahead and pause the game again. You just killed our guy, didn't you? Okay, go over there real quick. I need this other guy to respawn. So we got our guy to respawn. Let's move you over here. So what I'm trying to do is get a comparison of regular sized ones, elite ones, and then a typical like player character size, which is why I have the guard here. So if we can see here, the little guys are a little small. I would rather have the little guys, I think the size or even a little bit bigger than this elite guy. And then the elite guy will be a lot more gigantic. Okay, that's a little better on size. I think the base needs to be a little more. Okay, yeah, I just kind of really scaled it up because now the little ones are a little bit bigger than players. I still think it should be a little more actually. Okay, so that makes them a lot bigger than player character. I like that. That's the size we want. And then the elite ones actually look like something that you would need a party to take on. That's what I wanted. That's what I really wanted to look like. Not like dungeon boss sized, but definitely like, oh, let's not go after that unless we really mean it. Okay, I've just about got the scale right on everything, I think. Tail, let's go a little bit bigger. So these things look like they just stick off just further. But I need to make sure they are still attached. So let's lower them a little bit. Otherwise, I'll have to increase the size of the torso, which is I don't want to do anymore. So let's actually go down with you. That way you look like you attach a little bit better. Maybe I do shrink it just slightly. That way it comes in. Yeah, that's the way it's touching his body. Apply. Oh my goodness. No, don't select all. Look at that. We gotta clean up the colors a little bit, but yeah, okay, he's gigantic now. But yeah, the small ones are the right size. And then, so what we're gonna do is, I've already got for legs, we've attached in the octopus ones. One, I gotta figure out where the heck they are. Where are the legs? There they are. Okay. Holy moly, this thing's got so many tentacle-y type things on it. Okay, so yeah, this is the drawback of the octopus legs, is it's really hard to see in here, but like the legs point sort of backwards, and then if you use the octopus arms, they point sort of forwards. Maybe this thing shouldn't have the claws in front. Like maybe I'm just trying to use something that looks like it could be like vines. So maybe we do that. Hold on. Okay, so if I give it the octopus arms, obviously they look like octopuses. This thing is just really crowded right now. If I put these down below, sort of in the ground might not be a bad idea. Then it's almost like they're roots that like come up and like would attack, because that's essentially how it would attack, is the animation is going to have the arms kind of like strike, I think. Okay, let's do this also. So size wise we can see it pretty well. Okay, that's actually pretty cool to have the legs down like that, to be like roots or vines that are like sticking out of it. I'm actually kind of a fan. They're not attached to it, but so I put his torso touching the ground, and then now I can manipulate the arms better. Let's do this. I need to desperately change you to idle, so you stop moving. And then for legs, I'm gonna simplify this for myself. We're gonna make them disappear. So that way we're just looking at the arms for the moment. Okay, I'm done. I'm gonna do couple things here. Okay, I've increased the size of the tentacles, so that way we get more of like a root vine type of look to it. I don't like how it's currently like intersecting the eyeball things. They're not going to be eyeballs, you know, in the grand scheme of things here, but the idea is that this would be like attractive, like flowers of sorts. Like they would attract in animals or, you know, unknowing prey like people. And then the vines would just kind of shoot up, grab and attack. And then the big mouth was like, would be open like a giant flower. And everything meant to attack, the vines grab it, and then the flower can just kind of and gobble up the prey. So these are probably too big. We scale them down, maybe they get out of the way of the flower thing. I mean, I guess I don't really care if they touch, and they need to be kind of vicious. Maybe there are. And I like how they sit out kind of far. If I make you walk, what do you look like? Oh my gosh, that is horrifying. What kind of... I think we accidentally made Cthulhu. It should be pretty easy to make the back legs the exact same size, because it was just fully scaled bone, and then it was 1.4. So oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay, let's move it back quite a bit. Okay, so I have actually wanted to create a plant monster for the longest time, and this has got some next level horror going on with it. I don't really know what to call it though, to be perfectly honest. So I think I'm gonna actually leave that to all of you. In the comments, everyone in the comments, what should the name of this plant monstrosity be? And while you're contemplating what that should be, I'm gonna come in here and we're gonna adjust the colors. If I make it green, it really does look like Kermit the Frog. Funny. I do want it to kind of blend with certain elements, so let's really quickly, I'm gonna take this guy and I need to see how he mixes in with just aspects of the jungle here, because he needs to kind of fit in with the carnivorous plants here. So if I can match this as much as possible. Just not sure which green is gonna work. It's got to be lighter than that, huh? Maybe this column. Oh, that's close, because it's also going to be dependent on the lighting of the region. Seems a little too bright. Maybe the plant, the carnivorous plant over there's a little more on the yellow side, and I'm just not realizing it. It actually is. Okay, but I want to go darker maybe in that vein. Ah, there it is. Okay, not what I was expecting. So that's right. Now we want to get let's see, what are we dealing with here? This is the kind of the eyes. We want to go semi-vibrant with it, I think. No, it's not vibrant enough, so let's brighten it. I don't like the orange. It's also doing his eyes, so I need to think about that. Keep it, I want to keep it red. That's definitely too orange. What happens if I go more on the pink side here? Ooh, that's not bad. Perhaps one shade lighter. Okay, that's pretty good. And then for one of these white ones, that doesn't seem to do anything. Gotta figure out, okay, that's the tentacles, or the vines in this case, and his little spikes on his head. So this could maybe go darker green. That's a little too vibrant though. It's too strong of a green is what it is. Maybe I want to accent like with the colors of the trees here a little bit. So I gotta go more neon-y. That doesn't seem to do anything. It's close, but it's like too neon. Right, if I go really bright over here, it's like, it looks different up on his head than it does on the tentacles, which is what bothers me the most, I think. Okay, we need it to be darker. If I make it like a really deep dark, that's not bad. What does this other green do? This is like just the green on the side of the body, really. Not doing much. Maybe I just kind of make it the same as the other one. Yeah, that feels right. Pads on the tentacles / vines, and it's also the eyes. So these can be, oh gosh, that doesn't make me feel good, because I wanted it to be more red up there like a flower. But if I do that, then it's gonna make the tentacles have it too, kinda. Well, that's not terrible, I guess. Maybe, actually, instead of the dark green here, what would it be like if I went brown? The reason I wonder is because we could make the things on his head look more like sticks or branches. I was like, where are the good browns? Are they all down here? That's not brown at all. I don't feel like that's doing anything. Oh well, okay. I think that's pretty good, color-wise. Have you thought of a name yet? I need you to think of a name still. So go comment your name. Not your name, but like the name of the this guy, unless we want it to be your name, I don't know. I kind of want these guys to be really well balanced too. They should be like, in terms of health and everything, like I want them to have decent DPS as well as decent tankiness. Like they're gonna be just master of none, and base speed will be 0. Well, if they have base speed of 0, because I want them to be a plant, that's their point, is they're not gonna move. Maybe they should be a little hardier. Yeah, I'm okay actually with them being hardier. All right, rather than naming attacks and looking for pictures, I'm gonna look through pictures and then base my attacks off of that, because these things drive me insane. Okay, here's a good one right here off the bat. We've got vines grabbing a foot. This is gonna be ensnare. Is it ensnare or insnare? So I want this to be short cast time, relatively frequent, because this is like the entire basis of the plant is like, it just grabs everything, which means I want this to be ranged and I want it to be large area. This is their primary mechanism. So if you come at this with a party, I want the entire party to just feel like you're stuck, right? Like that's the point, is everybody can get captured by this. So it's going to be relatively hard to kill unless you've got ranged attacks. You're going to need some healing to probably take him on, but the damage I'm going to say is relatively low. I don't want this to be like a nuker. We'll say no cost on this. Damage, oh, that's the big question then. Let's have it actually do, I know I want it to have a siphon, so we're gonna have it siphon health. Is a 5-second cooldown. It also needs a root in place. So we're not gonna have base damage. It's gonna be a siphon health for the entire duration. So, well, okay, so it's a large area effect, meaning it can capture a group of them, but if you spread out, you should still be able to get away with not doing it. So the root in place can just be active consistently on one select area, but if you can avoid the area, then you're fine. It'd be nice if I could do melee range. Well, okay, melee range large area. That maybe makes more sense. So if you are a ranged unit, you have the advantage of not getting ensnared. But anyone who's melee is gonna get kind of caught in it, which is fine. And then siphon health. Well, siphon, oh, siphon's instantaneous, huh? So what I want is, I want a damage over time. I want it to be more of a siphon over time. Maybe to do it as a siphon, I'll just have to do it instantaneous. Okay, because the siphon is like, it's gonna deal damage, but then in theory, I think it should heal the plant. And this guy's gonna be level 4 at least. 6.8 health, 5-second cooldown. Okay, if I do this, then that's a sizable amount of damage, and if he captures multiple guys and siphons multiple party members, he's going to deal a decent amount of damage, and he would heal himself considerably the more he's able to capture, in theory. And if he can only do that every 5 seconds, he basically has an attack and a heal every 5 seconds, and then a root in place for those that are caught in it too. So high melee, parties with a lot of melee are going to get frustrated with this, which is fine. The thing is with a root in place too is they're still able to attack, which is why I want it to be like that. Like your feet get caught, but you could still, you know, obviously swing your sword or your axe at the vines and deal damage. Okay, so that I think is fine. That's probably a pretty chunky amount of damage, I would assume. His other ability, unusable, requires more rage than is available. Well, that's because we're not going to have you use rage. There's this one that kind of looks like it could be the vines. Really quick check what else we got. All right, we're gonna call this one Vine Strike. We'll keep this one on a lower cooldown so it can happen frequently. We're gonna make it missile range, but we're gonna go, yeah, single target, short cast time, short cooldown, really low damage though. Let's keep this, like, we're gonna keep it excessively low, 0.5. So at level 4, it's 1.7. Actually, let's do instant cast. I wish you could do like a 0.5 second cooldown and an instant cast. I want this to just be like rapid fire. We'll make it cost some mana, obviously, though. This is like the counter almost to the quick attack that the Angari Rangers have. So if we do that, that brings their DPS, whoa, really low, which is fine. Okay, I'm fine with low DPS. That was not the main functionality of this. Now, what else I want to add here, though, is... Okay, I was trying desperately to find an icon that was like a flower, just simply because I want this to be like based on the flowers attracting to players. We're gonna call it Trance. We'll put a little bit longer-ish cooldown on this one, but again, large area, and we'll go sniper range. So this could be like, this is what originally draws people into the plant, is like the smell of the flowers. So not gonna be damage, no cost, and then we're gonna add a weaken as well as a slow. I don't want the weaken to be too strong. We'll say 15%, and I want it to be like an aura around it almost. So like I want the duration of this to just be kind of constant. So yes, it's a large area of effect, which means there's a circle area on the floor that is affected by it. So it's not really going to be an aura around the plant. Maybe I should do it that way. Should I just make everything around the plant just like horrendous to be next to? Melee range, large area, so it just continuously like puts giant circles around itself where there's all these debuffs. That might be the way to do it. And then that way the counter is ranged. If you can stay at a range, then you're at a huge advantage. If you're melee, this is the worst thing in the world. That might be good, because then most of the melee characters have protects and stuff anyways that'll beef them up. And this is just gonna use a weaken. Okay, and I don't want this thing to have anything that allows it to be tanky. There probably needs to be a few more things on it though. So it needs something that it like uses its mouth. Goes nom nom nom. I'm gonna use this mouth only because kind of feels like the closest thing to a Venus flytrap. Don't really have a plant looking mouth. So this should do some upfront damage. We'll put a longer cooldown on it. Melee range, single target. Actually, this should be no cost, but the trance one, this should cost mana actually, because that's pretty powerful. 6.8 mana. So it's 2 mana out of the 20 that it has. It'll be able to stay consistent with it. It's not like it's gonna run out of mana per se, but I do want it to be gated somehow. So if it uses too many vine strikes, then it will lose the ability to keep the trance active. Ensnare, maybe we also add some here. Okay, so then this one, the one where it just eats you, is going to deal 1 damage, and then I want there to be like a damage over time because there's like a digestion process. Actually, this should maybe have the siphon on it, huh? Well, the vine, okay, so the ensnare one is like roots. Roots kind of like soak up and drain you as well. That's like how it would get energy. I don't know. Let's do a damage over time because this is like a digestion process, and we can make it just over the course of this. The thing is, do I want this to have more? Oh my gosh, should this be a stun? Why monster class plant cannot fight? Why is that the case? Is that because this needs to be a base attack? Is that better? It does damage. It doesn't have a cost. Why are you getting upset? There are no basic attacks available for monster class plant. Basic attacks deal damage and do not cost health, mana, or rage. That's literally what I've just got right here, and I just changed it to a starting ability. So you should be happy now. Not an 8-second stun. If you had to deal with a 5-second stun, if you had to deal with a 5-second stun, a permanent root in place, and a permanent slow, basically, or a permanent slow, a relatively permanent root in place, and then a 5-second stun. If you were the tank on your team, you would do nothing in this fight. Let's make this a 1-second stun. It needs to be something, because like the mouth is gonna like ensnare. How about this? It's not a stun. You get engulfed in its mouth, but obviously if you're holding your weapon, you could still like slash around on the inside of its mouth. So this should also technically be a root in place, but we'll make it a lot shorter. Not that it matters, because as soon as you're out of its mouth, you're ensnared potentially again. Okay, yeah, the entire point of this guy is just the entire party is dealing with the fact that they're all captured by a giant plant. That is the goal here. What do you look like when you move? Oh my gosh, it's horrifying. This thing is a demon. Look at it go. It's moving faster than I thought it would, to be honest. The animation is slow, but the actual movement is interesting, to say the least. I guess that's what it would look like if it was running normally. Why is it going so far? Where are you headed? Where are you going, my dude? Oh God, he's coming to attack the camp. Oh my gosh, look at these guys over here. They're just little... Oh, that guard just killed a bunch of them. Okay. Where are you going? Look at him, what is he doing? Why is the game transporting him over here? I'm not sure what to think here. What are you doing? You're trying to pass through the small gap that I made with fences, aren't you? Like, what is happening right now? Here he comes. Oh, he's dead. Why did it spawn, or not spawn, like why did it move him over here? I am so confused. Well, where is he now? Did he spawn back over here? No, he's not. Yeah, he's over here. Okay. That was so weird. Why did it have him walk all the way over there? I am baffled. Let's go ahead and play it on slower speed. You you, sir, can just live over here, okay? You don't need to spend eternity fighting these things. And then we'll go... Oh gosh, what am I trying to do here? All right, we'll put level 4 region of these guys kind of over here, because I like the idea of them just kind of blending in with stuff. There's way too many of them right now, but... So we'll put them around the rocks here. Put them around here. I hate how I can't change my camera angle when you're doing that. So where is... Okay, the pathway goes through that. There's no pathway to get back here, actually. So the only way you can do it is if you... Well, if you cut through here, or you go around there. So you'd have to... Oh gosh, I'm forcing a fight here. Okay, so here's what this has to be. This is not done yet, don't worry. This is gonna be minimal. Get it out of here. I am forcing there to be a fight here though. So if I force a fight here, that's not the smartest thing in the world, to be honest. I understand that, but this is also not really controlled. So let's go, we'll bring this up to about here. So it's not right up against the dungeon. So there's kind of a safe spot there. And let's do this because, for example, this guy over here right now, who is just trying to get over to, I guess that is one thing. Two is it has no speed, so it having snares and stuff is probably a good thing. All right, you have 18 health. What are you at right now? 8.3. Oh, I didn't change the animation styles. Okay, he did fine. He lost half his health, but like he did fine. If you get maybe, okay, let's do this actually. I got an idea. Because of how big they are. Oh, he just respawned. Funny. Because of how big they are, we're gonna beef them up just a smidge with health. Okay, so we'll do that. What I was gonna say was, in order to make safe spots through here, again, I said ranged has an advantage against these guys. So we'll say like in this kind of little area here, they're aware of the challenge of coming through here. So some Angari Rangers are gonna be semi-positioned throughout here because they know how to deal with the plants. And they know the safest route as well as being able to defend. So there are pockets where our players are gonna theoretically be able to kind of get through here. That guy just straight up walked right past this guy. What the heck? Like didn't even aggro him. Interesting. Okay, so there will be sections to this. Like that could be like a, you know, a quest to some extent would be like shows you the right path to take to meet up with the Angari guards that are chilling out through there that'll help you make it through. Maybe not an actual quest we make. Sort of we could, but we can't like have somebody follow a specific path without going back to the quest giver each time, unfortunately, but maybe that's something that'll get added in. Who knows? All right, so we'll add a couple of sections to this. This area here, this is an area where I want to keep them off the paths, but we can very easily throw a bunch in here. And maybe this area we can make it denser too. So you can have it hug right up here against the rocks there. I just need to be aware of where the path is. Is really hard to see right now. Is that pretty good? Some of these areas maybe can get closer. Yeah, and then like here we can have it go up against the rocks. Okay, and then as far as density goes in here, this is way too many of you. I guess here's the question. Should I make this like, let's make it minimal. Because I want them to be like, they're big scary things. They should be a little more minimal, but then we will add in like some level 4 elites in here. So we can make like some big baddies that you can go hunt for if you want to. Like look at the size of this guy. Holy mackerel. And then like back here, like there should be another big guy here. And then we'll add in level 5s at this point here. So if you try to like cut through here, you're gonna get, gonna have a bad time. So you have to follow the road in that sense. Yeah. We're gonna move you, and we'll put you in this spot over here. This will be kind of your section of the jungle. And then we'll put some more 5s in a group around him. Just need to be able to rotate. So hard to see. I really made quite the jungle here. You can come all the way down to here. So now we got some unique enemies in here, which is good. There's a chance I might make another enemy type in there, but I will probably keep them to like a couple random elites scattered around. I could make some elite wolves maybe that just kind of are in little isolated pockets, just because you can't overlap enemy zones. I don't know. Think about it. Maybe, oh, maybe there can be some elite iguana raptors that I scatter in there. I could put one here. This pathway is not pathway, but this area is kind of unprotected. Maybe we just put one of these guys in here. King of the plains right there. All right. We got lots of enemies now. All right, I know I said we were gonna start building out some quests and lore, so let's make sure we start doing some of that before we run out of time. Okay, I just really wanted to make sure we had enemies kind of in certain pockets because that's gonna play a role in making the quests. Really quick, this won't take more than a couple seconds. We do have hammers now available, so we're gonna deploy those, and then we'll get another weapon pack going. I think I want staves because I'm gonna apply that to some of our magic users. So let's go ahead and do staves, and then we'll make sure time is fine. Okay, so like I said, there's gonna be 2 regions coming into this region. We've got Zephyr. Now, right now, there is this Kobold quest over here, which is gonna take them into the, you know, Happy Fun Town land over here. We need to create something that tracks elsewhere. So I think what I want to do is put something in Schladir here. We've got lots of quests already, but let's have like an empirical figure, not a throne watcher. We can put a paladin. Where is my in spacing? Gosh, I forgot how much I like actually love this area. I'm not trying to toot my own horn. I just like, this was a really fun build in here. Which one is the inn? Am I tripping? Oh, maybe it was this one. Is this an inn? I think these are inns, huh? There it is. Okay, let's put you there. We should also have some other stuff around here. There should be more people. There needs to be way more people in this. Yeah, I'm just gonna put more guards around in here because I want it to feel like there's more going on. And there should also just be like some other random guys and stuff. Make the city center a little bit more infused. Actually, we never had Alchematechnus at this point, so maybe there could be a bunch of these guys too. I don't know if there's is there trainers in here? There might not be trainers in here. Oh, there's some over here. But probably not all of them because we didn't have all of the unit types at that point, huh? There's probably no trainer for you. Oh, there is a warlock though. Maybe I did do some of it. I doubt there's a scallywag. You can be over here. Everyone else should be fine though. Anyways, questline. Where did I put that guy? Here, you. So you, we need to add, taking you over here. So he's an Empire figure. We're gonna have him direct you over to this guard, and then the guard is like the main contact here for the Empire. Call this Southern Business for now. Default rewards is fine, and we'll just use the name that's on here, but we're gonna call him, oop, actually Ascalon sounds better than Ascalona. Is Captain. That's not the right letters. Captain Ascalon, we'll send you here. I don't need him to have that other quest. That's fine. He has one purpose, and then this guy, this will be Major Benji. All right, so this is like the most southern patrol for the Empire, so they don't send a large unit here. The entire point is like, they would normally have a very, very, very tiny select group. Also, I probably should have mentioned that like in between recordings, I did make this camp a little bit more fleshed out. So there's like tables, and they've got a little, you know, wagon here with food and stuff, which is actually a market stall for players to go to as well. So there's a little bit more here. Once you get here though, they're basically just trying to, whoa, what is going on here? Oh, it's telling, okay. I was confused why that was moving. The basis here is that they're trying to just barely keep control. So in order to do that, they're gonna have you just kind of, oh, there are oh my gosh, did I make like 3 sections here? I did accidentally. There are way too many of these. Well, there's way too many of them. What not better than to have you have a quest to go deal with them? Sounds like a great idea, because Kyle's an idiot. So go ahead and kill, I don't know, yeah, 5 might be, 6, 7. 5 is fine. Call the plants. All right, and then maybe you come over here and call some here too. Okay, so we can have a couple of quests to go do that for some farming more than anything. And then he wants you to try and venture south. So we'll probably, like, should I load up his quests? Actually, let's do it this way. This seems like an easy thing to do. We'll have him just work on helping players farm up for now, but then he also wants you to try and like go make contact, check the roads heading down here, because ultimately the Empire's not going to be able to move an army south or any kind of unit south to have control at any point in the future unless somebody scouts it out. So they're going to have you scout down here. We'll have them connect to the inn because obviously we want players to ultimately go to inns as well. This will be scout ahead, but let's move it last, and then this one we'll have to go over here because that's an inn also. And then we'll just call this mining camp. Okay, so we want that. So he is gonna apply 11,000 experience. That's way too much. These are fine, so there's a reward for those. These ones we will not have large XP bonuses. We're only gonna do 500 because we want them to, he's just a connector more than anything. So you can go do some farming, fight some enemies, kind of learn the lay of the land and the type of things you're dealing with, and then he's going to direct you to the inns, but the inns are not going to be high reward because there's other stuff we want them doing at those points. Okay, I also think there should be a flight path here, because once you get in here, so there's a flight path through the Zeppelins to get here. You should have to walk in and get to him, but then once you're here, I feel like a flight path is good to get you through everywhere else. So that way, like, you don't have to be on foot too much, but I want this location to feel like once you're over here, like you can only walk to it and get to it by walking to it. So yeah, this should be the only flight path. And it'll only take you between here and the town to the south. Oh, I could have you like perched up there. That's good. Put you on the rock. That's good. We're gonna have this guy hopefully take the least dangerous route, but who knows. You're gonna go here and then cut through this way and then cut through the road into here, and then you can fly over the racers because they're not a danger to dragonflies. And then you can loop around and connect into that guy. All right, that way there is at least, oh, I got rid of that rock, didn't it? Whatever, don't care, I'm over it. So now we got this other guy here. This is a throne watcher. He's here with different business. He went along with this little patrol regiment because it gives him some extra protection, but he's also got another plan altogether. So right now he's having you go do that. You're not going to go fight guys. He wants you to come over here ultimately because he's curious about the mining operation. The mining operation is going after some of the magical stones that exist in the area that are found within the floating isles. So they are stones that specifically allow for some kind of magical flight, which is why they're so valuable as a mining resource, because magical things are prominent and sell well and there's a business for it. However, because the Throne Watchers specifically thrive off of the power of the Everstones, which are over here, he wants to help quell the industry of trying to harness magics beyond the average person. Because if people get used to being able to harness magics that can be found throughout and mined and, you know, utilized at ease, he's afraid people will eventually try to come to the Frozen Vale and start mining the Everstones. Basically, they are trying to prohibit people they don't think should have access to magic to getting it. So the Throne Watchers like to take things into their own hands in terms of what people should or should not be allowed to do. So let's have him actually come over here and kill some plants, because you're gonna theoretically need to be able to navigate through here. So he'll kind of do that as well. I know we just had one of those quests, but it's fine, we'll get over it. Then we'll come over here and he's gonna have you come over to the inn. So this will be, actually, let's have him come over to tavern to start with. So the quest will be to go to the tavern to search for mining info. Whoever's in charge might be operating the mines currently. Nice, short, small, easy experience. Not 50, 500. Want to be too much. Now, realistically, that's kind of like all I would want him to really start with. I don't want a third quest yet. We'll add one, I think. But right now, that's all I want him to direct you to. So you come over here, and then it's kind of like find the leader of the mining operation. You'd have to kind of do that on your own. That's going to be this guy over here. Oh, also we got our Staves weapon pack. Let's just deploy that. I'm just gonna research through these as fast as possible, kind of. So let's go great swords next. Developing, great. Okay, so they'll work on that. Okay, so you are not going to be fighting anyone. Let's have him go over here. He's gonna direct people to Frank Beans and his stall. He wants you to go pick up some supplies because the dangerous mining operation obviously needs to have people who are brave enough to go in there because there's all kinds of random stuff going on. So he needs you to pick up supplies, and then he's gonna ultimately have you go into the dungeon that is the mine. So let's have you go. Can't really tell what I'm actually clicking on. I need to find the I don't know if I can't click on the dungeon, can I? Go to Raylan Halls. Raylan Halls? I guess that's the question, is did I click on that? This is just a modular building. Yes. Okay, so I think I did click on the... Yes, I did. Okay, perfect. All right, so he's going to direct people to the mine itself, and it's going to be missing miners, and I'll actually... That one's one that can be high on experience. I'm going to bring it last, so I'll bring in another quest, and this will be to like go to this building over here. It's from a story perspective. So this is going to be called Skystones because that's what they are mining out of here, is a special form of magical crystals that involve granting basically like a power of flight. So that's why these islands levitate. So you go in there, you learn about Skystones. The Skystones ultimately are kind of a sister stone to the Everstones that we find over here and throughout the world realistically. But there are certain pockets and areas that have more densely located sources of these crystals. The Skystones are really prominent over here in this province. Everstones are really prominent in Karak, which is why we get things like the Everstone Golems and our friend George. Skystones are found over here, and depending on how they're utilized, it can grant certain magical properties when they are placed within weapons or placed within armor, placed within other artifacts, and they can grant stronger powers and abilities to those who are magic wielders depending on what they're trying to get out of them. So there's an immense amount of value to this, but there is an immense amount of danger in trying to go in here and locate these artifacts. But those who are willing to spend either vast amounts of money to hire others to do it or to venture in themselves can end up with riches beyond belief when they're able to sell these things. All right, I've got a couple other quest givers over here. I want the Legend of Frank Beans to just be like, you know, Frank Beans just sends you off to do whatever Frank Beans wants you to do. So he'll grant some experience if you're willing to just kind of, you know, screw around. The Legend of Frank Beans. So I'm making these not very much because I'm also not caring too much about what they are right now. Frank Beans might be an alcoholic though. We don't know yet. Based on all the things in this, who knows? No, Frank Beans wouldn't tell you to go fight plants. That's not gonna happen. Frank Beans is gonna send you back over here though, because Frank Beans wants you to figure out if these guys need to buy any extra supplies. And Frank Beans is all about the power of capitalism. That one we can leave as higher experience. Okay, perfect. Got some Frank Beans there. Got some beans. Beans. There's another quest giver here. Where'd he go? There was a guy here, wasn't there? Oh, there he is. I don't know what to do with him yet. All right, some other quest things that need to happen too are with this dungeon down here. This is more like an ancient area. Now, for some overarching lore, there's some stuff that I touched on what seems like millennia ago, because it was quite literally years ago when I made Eastwash. But Eastwash, you'll notice the kind of snaking pattern of the river here that cuts through it. If you read at one point and forgot, or just never read the lore crumbs that were in the comments for some of those, it was talking about how an ancient being called Malasana, the great snake, carved the river herself. And the reason that happened is because thousands of years ago, at the empire's infancy, it took an army to march down here toward the Angari capital in order to try and take it. It's why you have these ancient fortresses along here. And in doing so, this was at a time before the river even existed. And the great snake, because she did not want there to be waging wars between these two factions, decided to take things into her own hands, as the legend goes. And she carved a great river to stop the army from being able to advance. And so as a result, the Angari actually admire Melasana and see her as a great deity of savature and worship many of the sentinels that exist beneath her guideship of sorts. So we've got this great river here. The snake moved through, and in ending, the snake actually moved up through the mountains here and into the region that we are currently working on. But because of the great interference that existed, these old gods were not necessarily allowed within their own circles to interfere with the workings of lesser beings. So Melasana was supposed to be punished. And so as a result, Melasana's brother, known as Horum, or the Great Arbiter, took it upon himself to make the decision that she was unworthy to have a physical form upon Nethador any longer. He, solely the decision being his as the eldest of the Enclave Eternum, or the Old Gods, decided that he would remove her physical presence from this world. And the great power struggle that existed as she cut the river, he came down, struck her physical presence from existence down here, and the wake of energy that existed or was created during that event caused a great rupture, and that's what uplifted and broke apart the earth, and as a result, the sky stones were broken free from their ground presence and now levitate upwards. So there was a side effect. Horum, who thought he could just simply remove her presence from the world and not have any consequences, as he foolishly sometimes believes he can get away with, actually released accidentally the sky stones to be more visible, and eventually lesser beings of the world discovered them and were able to actually start trying to harness them because they were exposed via the great floating isles. And this is kind of what I meant by this region was going to cover some of the old history of the old gods and how they interacted with this world, and led to some of the things that are going to have a much, much bigger role within this world. Specifically, we've talked about previously as well, that within the presence of our map, there's a great half circle that we know of specifically Everstone Towers. And those Everstone Towers are going to play a big role in Horum and his history. Some other lore facts that we should be aware of is the Great Frozen Veil. Now, this was created because Para, the mother of triumph and worshipped being of the Throne Watchers themselves, plunged her sword into the great mountains of Kurak and erupted the Everstones from the earth there as a gift to the lesser beings of the world. Now, Para is not an old god. She is not a member of the Enclave Eternum, those 6 great beings who created the world. She is merely a sentinel. Sentinels being created by the old gods as a means of protecting what the old gods had created. Para, however, decided to go on her own accord, and she decided to gift mankind with the Everstones themselves. Horum, one of the old gods that we just learned about, decreed that this was unforgivable and that the lesser beings should not be granted access to these great powerful magics. Horum was the one that decided that due to Para's actions, she should be punished. However, Horum's other sister, already completely furious with the fact that Horum had made the decision to disembody Melasana from this world, decided that she would take it upon herself to protect Para, this great being, and the third member of the Enclave Eternum that we've spoken about today. He's Vigorum. Vigorum, known as the Great Protector, because of everything that she did to help prevent Horum from completely destroying the world that was created. In his own rage and fury, Horum decided that there was too much going on, and as the Arbiter, should be the only soul being making these decisions. Before Horum could take the initiative to strike down Para and completely wipe her existence from the world, Vigorum stepped in, and in a great struggle, which once took place on the mountaintop of Zephyr, a mountain that no longer exists in these lands, the two struggled and fought, and in a great sacrifice, Vigorum sacrificed herself to imprison Horum forever. Unable to defeat him herself, all she could do was trap his entity, and in doing so, trapped herself. And so the two of them, Vigorum and Horum, have not been seen, or their presence and forces have not been seen on this plane of existence for millennia. And as such, peace and the ability to use magical items and go where you please, do what you want within the realm of whatever it is in this world, has been carried on, but no one really knows exactly where or how these two beings are being trapped and held somewhere in another plane. Perhaps the magical essence that holds them and binds them to somewhere else is not as hidden as we think.